Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. It's Monday, it's July 25th of 2022, and we have just so much to cover and talk about. So I want to start at the top with something that showed up on our Facebook group this morning. So if you haven't joined our Facebook group, it's Let's Go Travel Tips. Just come and join us. But we had one of our amazing Let's Go family members post. She lives in Australia, she always sails solo, and she was looking for someone who would maybe like to share a cabin so that they could split the costs. And so a few things came to my mind immediately, and I want to start off saying I want to talk about this a lot more tonight on our live, so come ready to talk about that. We're going to have lots of other things to talk about too, but I do want to talk about that for a few minutes and get y'all's input, and I would love your comments. So she went ahead and said what sailing she's got booked. She even put up there her cabin numbers, and that she just wanted someone to come along, like I said, and share the cost. So a couple of things came to my mind about that, and one of them is always my worry about you all. Like, be so careful about what personal information you put out there. Like, Gordon sent her a message and asked her maybe that she would like to take out her cabin numbers so that people wouldn't have those if someone dishonest or who had ulterior motives happened to get a hold of it. And so be really careful about what information you put out there. Also, just be so aware that there are so many wonderful people in the world, and there are so many who are who have ulterior motives and who are not honest. And so be really careful in everything that you do. But like one time I accidentally held up, I think it was our luggage tag, and showed our cabin, and it was when Princess was not sailing near capacity. So we actually asked if we could please have a different cabin, and they were really kind and gave it to us. Now that probably wasn't necessary, but we did go ahead and change just in case someone who wasn't nice came across the video and saw the cabin that we were going to be in. I would like to personally vouch for everyone who is in our Let's Go family and our Let's Go Facebook, but I can't do that because I don't know you all personally. And so I just wanted to put that out there. If you are someone who is looking for someone to travel with you, there are lots of thoughts that I've had. You could whenever you do sail, go to the singles and solos meetups, or maybe you will meet people who are sailing by themselves. Like if you sit at a large table that you're willing, to dine with other people. Just lots of different ways. Talk to family members if they know anybody that they know really well would like to go. Maybe you can convince a friend who can afford it that has never wanted to cruise before to give it a whirl, and maybe they'll end up loving it. I know a lot of you have probably already tried these things. So my biggest thing today is to be so careful, because I don't know why, but I really worry about you all. So be really careful. And tonight, let's talk about, and please do put in the comments, any suggestions that you've got for how to meet people that you could maybe sail with, and just have a really nice roommate, but be able to share that cost. And as far as privacy goes, I just want to make sure that everybody knows if you come on a group cruise with me, I'm not telling anybody your cabin number. I will know what it is clearly because I book your cruise, but I am not going to use that for anything, and I'm not going to share it. Because I think it's really important to have privacy. And you should know that when you're on a cruise ship, if you want to talk to another passenger and you don't need to know their cabin number, all you do is call customer service and say, will you please connect me, or the operator, whatever you want. Call them and say, will you connect me with so-and-so? And they will connect you to their room, and they won't tell you what the room number is to keep those people's privacy, but then you can talk to them. And they always have the option that if the person isn't there in their cabin, you can leave a message for them, and then they can listen to it when they get back. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that that, and I think privacy is really important for a lot of reasons. And if you want somebody to know your cabin number, you can tell them yourself. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that. The next thing that I want to talk about is on Saturday, we put our video out talking about the Apple air tags, the little locator tiles, as well as the Samsung Galaxy Smart tags. And there was a couple of things that came out of that I just felt deserved a minute here. So first of all, one of our Let's Go family members said that they have used the little tile things for a couple of years now. And as Gordon mentioned, there's a $30 a year subscription fee. And they were so kind to let us know that part of that, they will send you replacement batteries for your little tiles. And I think that's great. They do run out after a while. They're easy to switch out from everything we've read, and Gordon tried it on ours, and it is very slick. And so there's that. And the other thing is, we've gotten a few emails from people wondering if this will draw people to your luggage and help them know that it's not attended, and then they can steal it or open your bag and take things. So first of all, that little beeping sound that you can have your phone make when you are trying to find your AirTag, that's not going to go off unless you really want it to. So be aware of that. When someone is next to your luggage and their phone sends the data up to the cloud that's where your luggage is, and then you get that notification of where your luggage is, they are not notified that their phone was used for that, first of all, and it also doesn't say this is an unintended piece of luggage. So it's not like they'll suddenly know that they can take it or help themselves to anything in it. The other thing that I wanted to make sure that everybody is really clear on, and we talked about this on a live, but I'm worried that we didn't talk about it enough. Ever since 9/11, if you want to have your suitcase locked, you have to have a lock that is that the TSA is able to open. And so you can't just have a random suitcase with a lock on it or choose a random lock to put on your luggage. You have to have one that the TSA can open. If you don't, then just don't lock your luggage, because they have to be able to get into your luggage to look at anything that is of concern to them. So I wanted to let you know, and this is not an ad for don't lock your luggage. Maybe Gordon and I should start locking our luggage with one of those TSA locks, or they do have luggage that has those locks built in that the TSA can open, and maybe that's what we ought to be looking at. But at any rate, be aware that no matter where your luggage is, whether you have one of those trackers in or not, theoretically somebody can open it. I feel very blessed that we've not had anything ever stolen, but I was just talking on Saturday to a Let's Go family member that I'm so fortunate to be able to help her with her travel, and she was saying that she had a really expensive, her makeup bag with a lot of expensive makeup was stolen one time out of a checked bag. And so just be aware that that's the situation. And if you want to have luggage that cannot be opened, get one of those TSA openable locks, okay? Or a suitcase that has it. So I thought that might be of value to some of you out here. Now, the next thing that I wanted to tell you about is a little bit related to luggage. And I hope that you don't think, here she talks about luggage again, but I think that what I want to share with you has a really good lesson for how to approach some things in life. And so I'm going to tell you about it. So I read this story in Inc. online, INC period, about, they write about a lot of business things. And the title of it is Delta Lost 1,000 Pieces of Luggage. The airline's response was a stroke of genius. And the stroke of genius is what I wanted to tell you. It's a good way to approach life. So anyway, as you might be aware, and I talked about it when it happened, Heathrow has really reduced the number of passengers they let pass through there a day. As a result of that, there have been a lot of canceled flights. So, we have talked for months now about the big backlog of luggage at Heathrow Airport. Some other airports are also having a lot of trouble with canceled flights and trying to get everything where it belongs, but Heathrow has been known for several months now to be having this trouble. Heathrow has said, the officials there have said it's a combination of having so many more travelers than they're used to having, a big surge in travelers, as well as not having enough employees. And so keeping that in mind, as those flights started to be canceled, Delta had a flight that brought passengers to that airport, but they were not able to bring passengers back. So what they did is take 1,000 pieces of the luggage that had been for their passengers that were just stuck there at Heathrow, put it on that flight, and flew it back to Detroit. When it got to Detroit, they put it on flights to be able to deliver it to the end destination of where those travelers were so that people could get their luggage back. So I thought that was great. They not only got 1,000 pieces out of Heathrow, but they also were able to return it to the passengers who needed it. And so that I think is great. That's very great. But the thing that I really appreciated the most and why I wanted to tell you about it is their CEO had been on a call. And this is what he said, and I should say their CEO is Ed Bastian. I think this is great. I don't agree with everything that he does. I'll just tell you. So don't think I am like giving an endorsement to somebody or something, but I do appreciate this. It says, if your customers have a poor experience, it might not be your fault, but it is still your problem. You have a choice, and this is what I think is really important. You can pass the blame to whoever might have caused the problem, or you can just solve it. And I think that is such a good lesson for all of us when something happens unexpected in life, whether it's in our job, whether it's with our family, whether it's with our friends, whether it is something that we caused or clearly didn't cause. We have a choice. We can just stand there and blame people, or we can do all that we can to solve the problem and to make things better. And I think that as we do that, our lives will be better. Not only the better in the way of like our customers in this situation, or our co-workers, our employees, whatever that looks like, but also in our families and in our relationships with any friends that we have. So I hope that we will all do our best to help solve any problems and do it as pleasantly as possible. I just wanted to put that out there, and I am really grateful that I came across this article because it will help. It'll help me think about things a little bit differently, and I hope that it helps some of you as well. Another update that I wanted to talk to you about is super quick. Yesterday we put up our videos that were showing the just me kind of walking around in Skagway, and I just kind of talk while I walk and tell you things as they come to my mind. That's kind of how that works. But I think there's some really useful information in there. And when I go next time, I will be sure to get the cross streets and pay attention to the quilting and yarn stores better. Okay, I promise. So, and that'll be next year at the end of May on our group cruise. So anyway, we had it was a beautiful, beautiful day there. When I was getting off the ship, it was like 7:15 in the morning and it was not even cold. So the high that day, I can't recall, but it was in the upper 80s or low 90s. It was very warm. So the people that you see in the video in shorts, they weren't cold. Now this is very unusual for Alaska. That is not how things usually are there. So we had some comments on like the excursion that I went on, that on the day some other people went, the boat ride was really rough, and so much water was flowing, and it was just really different going in the canoes than it was on a beautiful sunny day. So why am I telling you this? A couple of reasons. Number one, just be aware that weather can vary greatly no matter where you are, but Alaska is known for that. And so be aware of that. And someone else, a couple of people now have said, if you had to choose between taking a winter clothing or a weather, like a rainproof outer layer and doing lots of layers, what would you choose? Every time, do the layers and take a rainproof, snowproof, just a waterproof outer layer, a jacket. And I think that will serve you better, because doing layers, you can really get yourself to be quite warm, but then you can take them off if it turns out to be a really, really warm day. So keep that in mind. And the other thing that goes with that is it's just the reminder, like so many of you already do, when something unexpected happens, just do your best to enjoy your luggage. Your day, your luggage, enjoy your trip. I know that sometimes it is pouring down rain when we just want sunshine. And sometimes though, water can be very rough, even though it's sunny. I was reminded when we were just in Mykonos, the seas were so rough going from Mykonos over to Delos, and it was just on a little boat. And, that was completely unexpected, but just keep in mind, do your best to enjoy, and there you go. Now, the next thing that I want to let you know about is Holland America has announced that the Rotterdam that has been doing sailings out of Amsterdam is going to have to switch and do her July 24th sailing, which was yesterday, Sunday. She departed from Rotterdam instead of Amsterdam, and they have already said that it's going to affect the sailing later this week on July 31st. So be aware of that, especially if you're going to travel there for that next sailing. But I wanted to let you know, so the ride from Amsterdam to Rotterdam is between an hour and a half. And so it's not a really long ways, but if you thought you were just going to be right there in Amsterdam and just hop right over to the port and get on the ship, be aware. The other thing that I wanted to let you know about this is the reason for it is because right now a lot of Europe is experiencing a very severe drought. So the water levels in their canals, their rivers, everywhere over there is really low compared to where it usually is. So they are actually shutting some of their locks there because you can't have all the seawater from the North Sea flowing in because it will mess up like the whole ecosystem in your rivers. So they are actually closing that until they get some rain. Be aware that the amount of drought that they are experiencing, it's not going to be solved in one rainstorm unless it lasts for days and days and days and days. So we here in the Western United States are also having a very severe drought. And so I think that's why this is really interesting to me and why I say if you are on a sailing that is later than July 31st, chances are very good that your sailing is going to be affected as well. So make sure that you take a minute and figure out if your sailing is affected, how you're going to get out there to that port. Okay, just figure that out. There's lots of taxis, cabs, car services, and all these different ways to do it. And so just figure out how you're going to do it so that you're prepared. And then kind of in connection with this, there's two things. First of all, when I was recently flying to Alaska, we flew out over the Great Salt Lake. And if you're not familiar with the American United States, the Great Salt Lake has been of great import to really the whole Western United States. It's this huge body of water. They call it the Salt Lake because she has had very, very, very salty water. In fact, Morton Salt Plant has had a plant there for a long time. My mother shared stories of when she was young, they would always go out there and you would float because of how much salt was in the lake. Well, as I was flying out, I was amazed at how low it is. Like, oh my goodness. And so last year, she hit the lowest level since they've been keeping track in October. But this year she hit it like the end of, I want to say at the end of June, or maybe it was just right the beginning of July. And so we are in dire circumstances. And so I videoed some of that as I was on the airplane coming and going. And so Gordon's going to put a little bit of that footage at the end of this video if you would be interested in seeing it. There are islands that are no longer islands. It is so low. It makes me actually really sad to see that happen. So that's why I know that to cure our drought, it's going to take so much rain and so much snow. And what's going on in Europe is very similar to that. So it's going to be interesting to see how this not only affects the Rotterdam sailings, but our river sailings in Europe. I've been thinking of it actually a lot when I was thinking maybe we should do, I know that I really want to do a river cruise that goes to the Christmas markets. And I was kind of thinking, I actually was looking to see if there was anything available at the beginning of December, but I'm going to hold off because when you are on a river cruise and the rivers are too low, they just bus you, which entirely changes your experience. And I get that they have to do that. I'm not unhappy with them at all, but that's just what you have to do. So I think I'm going to hold on that just a little bit until I feel a little bit more comfortable and not having to worry about that so much. So I'm keeping my eye on that. And if any of you see anything about it as well, let us know. Another really cool thing that I wanted to tell you about with Holland America's Rotterdam, she is their newest ship. She just started sailing a couple of months ago this year. But anyway, so she started sailing on October 15th of 1872, and she set sail from Rotterdam towards the U.S. Along the way, she stopped in Le Havre, France, and in Plymouth, England. And so this year in October, they are going to duplicate that sailing again. So if you're not busy in October, you might want to take a look at it. So they're going to have a very special celebration to start off there in Rotterdam. And then they're going to have a very special celebration as she arrives in in New York. They're doing that for the Rotterdam. And so it would be a really fun cruise. If you need help looking at it, you can shoot me an email. We always have our email under here, but let's go traveltips@gmail.com. I'd be happy to look at it with you. But I just think it's amazing. If we didn't already have our Love Boat cruise booked, I might be looking at that one, and maybe I'll look at it anyway. I need to look up the dates. I think that I've looked once and maybe it overlaps. But anyway, I'm going to look at it again. Okay. Now, another thing that I want to just zip through a few things that I think will be of value to a lot of you. First of all, in our live the other night, people were wondering about Southampton. Is Southampton a good place to walk around? What stores are available if you need to pick up, like if you've got your carry-on and you need to pick up your shampoo, your toothpaste, your hair stuff, whatever. One of our Let's Go family members who lives right there was so kind. Emma was so nice to let us know that Southampton is a very safe place. So you can feel comfortable walking around if you need to walk around and get anything that you need. She said there's a big ASDA, A-S-D-A, supermarket there that would have a whole lot of things. It would also be a really fun place. She didn't say this, but I happen to know it, to like get some candy. If you want some candy that's unique to the UK, I always get that. Or look at anything else. Any food you want to try, anything at all, snacks you want, that would be a really good thing. So thank you very much, Emma, for letting us know. I really appreciate that. I've added that note to my journal that I keep for when I go to Southampton next. Now, I do want to super fast talk on OnPoint is onpoint-testing.com. They're one of the sites that you can go to, and you can have a government test or a different test that you would like to, a COVID test that you would like to be proctored, so that you can get those official results so that you can get on a ship, or if you need the official results for something else in your life. Our Let's Go family member, Norma Jean, just barely did hers on Saturday because she was going on a cruise, and she said that it went super smoothly, no problems. The proctor was on the phone before the appointment, and she had the test results and printed them super fast. So that went really smoothly. Now here, this is kind of sticky. So I know that there are people that recently put out a video saying that they were scammed by OnPoint testing. And so Gordon and I listened to it, and Gordon even went through and listened to the transcript again. And so I would love, you don't have to give me your input if you don't want to, but based on what we saw, I don't think they were scammed. I think that there was a little bit of a miscommunication between them and OnPoint and them. I don't think that they were scammed. So the reason I'm saying that is I have lots of Let's Go family members who have used the OnPoint testing with no trouble whatsoever, and I would actually recommend it again. And so maybe I'll even just try to use it before we go on our next cruise or something, so that I can share that experience with you. I'll make a note to do that. But just so you know, I don't think that they are scamming people. Just wanted to put that out there. Now, the next thing on our live also, somebody was wondering about the ports of La Paz and Laredo. They usually show up on the cruises that go to the Sea of Cortez. I know Princess has some of those, and our Let's Go family member Gail, she let us know that in Laredo they enjoyed the excursion to the San Javier mission, which is number 2 of the California missions, the Camino Real missions there in Mexico. And so I appreciated her letting us know that. Those missions are so beautiful. I haven't been to one, so I will have to go to one there in Mexico. I've been, they have the missions in San Diego and in Los Angeles. I have been to those, and it's a really unique part of history, and I think something that would be valuable to visit. And so I wanted to let you know about that. We've got 2 other things super fast. I get asked so often, how can you book the chef's table on Princess? You cannot book it in the app. You have to book it when you are on board. The easiest thing that I would say is if you get on board and your cabin's not ready, just go down to customer service, get in line, book it that way. If you pick up one of the house phones, you can call dining services, book it that way. If your cabin's ready, I'd go to my cabin and call dining services. Or sometimes, they can't always guarantee having somebody in the dining room. That's also an option, but you have to book it when you are on the ship. And from what I've heard, some sailings, it sells out super fast and some not as quickly. But if you want to do that experience, definitely go go sign up. And the cost is $99 if you don't want any alcoholic beverages with your dinner. And if you want alcoholic beverages with your dinner, it's $149 per person. Okay. Let's see. The last thing that I wanted to tell you about is when I was on the Koningsdam to Alaska, I had mentioned trying out the Pinnacle Grill for lunch. And I just wanted to tell you that someone commented on our Let's Go under one of our videos, but I've also gotten some emails from people of how much they enjoyed that. So put that on your list of things to do. Now, if you have the Have It All package with Holland America, you receive a specialty dining, but don't use it on that at lunchtime, because lunchtime on the Pinnacle Grill is only $15, but it is absolutely delicious, and I would say that it's comparable to dinner, okay? So use that for lunch, and then keep your specialty dining for dinner. To go to the Pinnacle Grill at dinner time, they do have a wider menu, more steaks to choose from, a little bit more, but you know what, the salmon that I had for lunch, like, I would have been happy with that for dinner. So anyway, they do have a little bit more to offer, but it's $34.20, I believe, per person. And so if you want to use your specialty dining for that, you could do that since it's more expensive. But I just wanted to put out there, that is an amazing option. And like next year when we get to go on our group cruise, I'm going to have lunch there at the Pinnacle Grill. And of course, if anybody wants to join us, I would love to have you with us. But for sure, Gordon and I are going to do that. I'm looking forward to it already. So like I said, join us at our live tonight if you can. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern always. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe and hit that little notification bell. That will give you a little notification when we go live or when we put up a video, because we have so much to share and I want you to stay up to date with us. And then if you appreciate these updates, would you please give this video a thumbs up? It really does help us out. And now I'm going to tell you goodbye, but that footage of the Great Salt Lake is going to be right here behind my farewell. Just telling you bye, just so that you can see it and give you an idea a little bit of what it's like. And so I will be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoy the footage.